Hello and welcome back to the Valorant Game Changers Academy, brought to you by AIM Labs and Verizon. We just watched an intense game versus randos and tactical throwers. Both of these teams have won their respective map picks and are 1-1 in this series, and we're about to be going on to Breeze. Any predictions based on how we've seen both of these teams play thus far, Epitomes?
I definitely think Breeze is a map that lends itself better to the way that Haven is played, rather than how Bind is played, because Bind is a very small map, one of the smallest in the entire map pool, and Breeze, I think, is the largest in the map pool, probably only comparable with Fracture here. So Haven and Breeze, both very large maps, but Breeze is just a lot more of a puggy map as well. I would say set strats on Breeze do work well, but it also allows for a lot more individual pop off performances simply because of how long the ranges are here, and you have to rely a lot on gunplay, and utility does have limited range, so you really need to rely on those guns a lot more.
And I mean, if we're going down to who is relying as far as guns are concerned, we've seen great gunplay from both of these teams, but it really has kind of come down to utility and the difference in these two maps. And so I'm kind of with you. I think that despite tactical throwers having a map taken off of them in a previous series, and that map being Breeze, I do think that we're kind of in for a very close game because tactical throwers did do a lot better on Haven, that I agree is a lot similar in map structure to Breeze than something like Bind. And we were able to see kind of a very different play style in the Rays picked up from the side of, well, from both of these teams, but kind of did a lot better in the hand of randos than it did in the hands of tactical throwers, whereas previously we've been able to see Satyr and tactical throwers do a lot better on the Jet. So I think that since Jet is just going to be such a big piece of the puzzle on a map like Breeze alongside probably something like the Chamber, I'm very interested to see how that's going to play into it. But I think that a big thing that's going to happen for both of these teams as well will be something like a KO pick, something that's very good at countering something like the Jet and the Chamber, and it's just something that works so well in so many team compositions. So I think it will come down to who utilizes that initiator better going into this map.
Well, we did see on Haven that randos did pick up the double initiator, both the breach and the sky. And I'm not sure if that's something that they will pick up here, but I'm curious if they want to go for a double controller because I've seen Viper, both Viper and Astra, picked up on this map. Viper a lot more so than Astra, but usually Astra is very complementary to Viper's utility here. So I'm just curious if they were going to try something a little bit more off meta. Last match on Bind, it was more of a mirror matchup for both of these teams. But on the other hand, on Haven, it was just like wildly one direction or the other with these agent comps.
Yeah, and we're excited to see what agents will be brought to the table. We are getting down into agent select, so our answers to these questions will be quelled momentarily as we see what both of these teams are going to end up picking. So far, we're seeing a few lock-ins kind of blazing onto the screen. I would expect Bell to go ahead and lock in this chamber. We've been seeing Bell pick up the chamber across both of the previous maps that we've seen, as well as Kaya going ahead and going for that as well. Something that was picked up in the last round but not on Haven, but I think is just a great utilization on this map. And if these lock-ins do come across, we will be looking at a mirror match, but I think that's kind of I think it's a borderline to be expected. Breeze is slowly becoming
Uh,
more and more of a solved map.
yeah, Breeze basically, I think KO, people are just realizing how broken he is, especially when it comes to countering the Jet and the Chamber, who are really dominating the meta right now, especially like the huge ultimates that can really substitute for just having guns and the mobility, the teleports. It's just excellent to be able to have the 0 point, the null command, and just completely stop that in its tracks. And I think people are just like, yeah, KO,
Select
that's
your
exactly what
agent.
we need to gather because he's a perfect combination of like gathering info and being sort of like a um I actually forget what it's called, but what's it called when you persuade someone to stop doing something? That's what
When
I
you
mean.
coerce them?
Coerce? I don't know if
That's the first
discourage,
word that
dissuade,
discourage. Okay.
discourage them off the sites. Sorry, I just forgot words for a minute.
I came up with a like much more convoluted word. Discourage is a lot better and more
uh,
direct of a word, but that goes to show like where my brain is. So, just different places, different directions, and with that we won't be seeing our teams go in different directions as far as agent select is concerned. We are looking at a complete mirror match from both of these teams, and so far I would be kind of inclined to believe that this does kind of once again put things in tactical throwers' favor. We've seen Satyr do a lot better on the Jet than we've seen Kay do, but nonetheless, Kay did pick up a Sheriff going into this round, so is definitely hoping to prove me wrong here.
I mean, that's just Jet things. You ever get a Jet in your ranked games that just picks up the Sheriff first round, absolutely no utility, and goes ham? I think that's exactly what they're trying to emulate here on this map of Breeze. This is the decider to see who gets to go to the grand finals of this month's Game Changers Academy, and it is definitely a banger matchup so far. Now, starting off, we've got a default coming out from the side of Randos, and we heard the 0 point go out. I'm not sure if it found any information for either of these teams, though.
Ooh, and with that, Kay onto site and already trying to prove me wrong for my statements that I've previously made with a nice early kill onto Yoja there. And now Kaya just kind of watching this mid area, still trying to see if anybody is lurking towards here. Potentially going to be able to meet up with Shaka, but also maybe just not going to be moving off of that situation. I really like this kind of delayed lurk towards this mid area that Shaka is doing, able to gather information about that KO moving towards this B site, and with that moving to do a little bit of a lurk in through mid of their own. Junifor, though, nice shock dart kill as Kay is also able to line up and punish Shaka for that lurk, but Bell nicely able to trade back and keep us into an even 3v3 situation as Zoe tries to stop that in its tracks, but even as also just doing their best, doing these trades back and forth. Zoe picks up another one, even as the only one remaining, and Zoe with the 3K finishes it off, and tactical throwers, a little bit as anticipated, able to pick up that first round.
Yeah, defensive side, the first pistol for tactical throwers, kind of exactly what we expected. We're kind of going back to the roots of just having someone sit on that spike and hold it down, and no matter what happens, they just kind of sit there and watch. They really trust their teammates, and it's really nice to see that. But now we actually have both sides forcing up because they both really want to either tie this up or get a huge advantage. And they're really exhausting the bank for this one on the side of Randos.
And I mean, it's an aggressive idea, certainly as aggressive as Satyr moving towards that mid side, but Lana actually going to be the one to pick up first blood, and Bell will be able to get the bomb down. So far, so good, despite losing that first round. I mean, the aggression paying off so far. Junifor going to go ahead with the shock darts that worked in a previous round, but won't be able to tag up and find any damage going into this one. Skirting around, waiting for the rest of the defensive side to make their way onto this site and join for this retake. Zoe going out with those flashes. Junifor able to pick off Lana with that peek around Kay, able to pick up 2, even as well. Kay to pick up 3 and finish it off. The buy up from the attacking side able to pay off.
Hey, definitely trying to prove you wrong when you said that she didn't perform as well on Jet. Picking up now, I mean, she's definitely seems to be warmed up. If that was the case, if that wasn't the case when we were on that first map, Haven definitely performing at the top of her game and being the point of the spear for her team, leading them into these sites right alongside Lana, throwing those 0 points as well as the flashes in the site. So this is looking to be shaping up to be a pretty nice round going forward for Randos, considering the enemy team, they're on pistols.
Oh, Satyr is located. The reload at an aggressive time from Kay. I mean, 6 bullets would have been enough to finish off Satyr, but went for the reload anyway. It punished for it. Satyr picking up that gun, and now bigger guns in the hands of that duelist are going to make it that much more difficult. But even as, whoa, I mean, coming back with a vengeance alongside Lana and Bell, who pick up even more kills. Did something happen to complete 180? The attackers are being so aggressive, and it's going very well for them.
Yeah, this was a really nice coming out for the side of randos. Like we said, Breeze is a little bit more of a pug map, so it can really lend themselves to a lot of chaos here, and that's kind of what we're seeing. Very, very chaotic from both of these sides so far. Now, both of them picking up rifles. Some of the members of randos are still sticking to those specters that they have saved from the rounds previous, building up that economy for the team, but it's a stack towards the B side. We've seen a lot happen on B already, and we've seen Yoja kind of struggle to hold this since the amount of utility that goes out onto the site, but now she's playing a lot safer, backing up into tunnels already as and arches, but Viper's Pit on the site's going to make this retake a lot harder for this team.
Oh, I mean, the Viper's Pit is down, and so is the bomb, and that's going to make it that much more difficult for the defensive side, but not difficult for Satyr to land that very nice headshot. Junifor training out with Bell there, and Shaka also to find that kill into Junifor, keeping us at an even standpoint in this game, but I mean, it's less even feeling when this Viper's Pit is down. K peeking out, tries to find Satyr, but it's actually Ibanez to find Yoja, and then Satyr actually final say in this situation. Ibanez doing a great job of peeking out from this Viper's Pit, and Shaka with the long angle, unaware, picks up Satyr, and a third round for randos.
Yeah, there's really nothing that she can do in that situation as well, because the fact is that she was pinged out by the owl drone and just didn't have the bullets to shoot, was stuck in the reload animation, and now randos are pulling themselves ahead on Breeze. We haven't really seen their A execute yet, and this is where they're postured now, keeping in mind that when you have the Viper, you can only really put down that smoke in one place unless you've got a lineup for the poison orb, so they gotta be careful about picking and choosing where they want to go. Satyr and K both taking out the Blade Storm, though that 0 point not going to connect, so Satyr is not in any danger of losing those knives, at least for a few moments longer, but she has been pinged out, and K, she tries to go for it, but Shaka is going to want to confirm the kill.
I mean, Kay and Satyr almost had a Jet anime duel there, but unfortunately not going to end up being the case. The blind was enough to seal the deal for Satyr there. And now, once again, 3v3 situation. I feel like we're running into this a whole lot for both of these teams. The Owl drone from the defensive side is going to gather a little bit of information, locate some shots towards the back of that left Hedron, and oh, very nicely done as far as that blind is concerned. Lana picks up the hard kill onto Yoja, and Bell and the side of Shaka also to just finish it off so nicely. It really feels like randos have found their footing and are off to the races.
Yeah, there's also not a lot of control going from the side of tactical throwers. They're just struggling to control tunnel tube. They're struggling to control mid, and they're struggling to control just like any choke point on this map at all. The way onto the site just seems so easy. It's like a bulldozer from the side of randos, just going straight on in. But now it's the, oh my god, what a shot with the operator. Say he's trying to get out now from shot spam. Yoja's going to defender, and Bell is going to finally shut that down, but still a sizable advantage for tactical throwers now.
Get you a friend who defends you the same way Yoja defends Satyr there. I mean, Satyr should have been dead, but thankfully the distraction of Satyr running away, followed by Yoja being able to just pick up all of those kills, worked out so nicely, but we are still in a rough spot here. Bell just trying to defend this spike, and whoa, okay, I mean, maybe not a rough situation, excuse me. All of a sudden, Ibanez and Bell are saying, nah, we still got this easy. Our momentum is not slowing.
What in the world was that? Even though Satyr picks up the operator, finds the first blood, they still somehow lose out in the round. Really nice positioning from the post plant as well, even as just hiding behind that box, and made it really hard for Satyr to clear. And the entire point of having an operator on a map like Breeze, where this distance is really king, is the fact that you don't allow them onto the site in the first place. But unfortunately, she was only able to get one pick. And South Satyr, she's going aggressive, or at least trying to.
Oh, very nicely able to dash out there before getting caught up by that 0 point, and the Cloudburst is able to keep a little bit at bay here from that A site, but Bell actually the first to draw blood into this round onto Junifor. Yoja, though, picking off that lurk in the form of Ibanez, and ooh, I mean, what a beautiful shot. Right place, right time from Kea there, able to find that kill onto Bell. Finally, the defenders have found their stride and have been able to pick off all of the attackers. Shaka, though, getting a, woo, okay, that nice kill onto Satyr, followed up by a very nice little corner peek onto Zoe there. Knows where Kaya is, but is just trying to play around that corner, but Yoja finishes it off very, very nicely.
Really nicely done from the defenders, especially considering that that was a thrifty round, but now that they do have guns in their hands, starting this time out, trying to figure out how they can close this gap. I mean, Kaya gained a lot of control in mid from tunnel by using the tour de force because it was just so strong for her to have so much more control over those long ranges. But now on the other side, they have both the Hunter's Fury as well as the Tour de Force ready. And on their side is the Viper's Pit. And if you activate that Viper's Pit at the beginning of the round, it does give you a lot of control over either the choke points and really makes a denial of sight as well as entry onto at least one of the entryways.
I mean, so far, like, so good from the attacking side. They're definitely going to be able to get a lot of aggression, even despite potentially something like that Viper's Pit. I mean, they've been able to show that they're confident at getting the bomb down on both of these sites, and so it'll certainly be an uphill battle nonetheless, even if they are held back by something like that Viper's Pit.
Yeah, and I think even if they do put that Viper's Pit down, it's not like they can really shift defensive power away from the site because they just, randos completely disrespect some of the utility being thrown down by Yoja here. We've seen them just walk through snake bites and through poison orbs without a care in the world, so they really need someone to back them up even if the Viper's Pit does go down.
And just like you've been mentioning, it does go down, and that does mean that Satyr is able to pick off this nice early kill onto Ibanez there with that operator. I mean, something that just goes together like peanut butter and jelly, that jet with that operator, and Satyr is showing exactly why that is. Those shots to take out the owl drone does mean that Satyr is able to safely peek out and find that kill onto K. 2 kills so far to Satyr, and a nice start to this round for the defensive side.
Yeah, they've taken down the Viper, which is really the crucial part of this attack. It is so hard to get onto any site without the help of the toxic screen because it just covers so much area. They're able to get the ping off onto Satyr though, so she's just retreating a little bit further back, which allows Bell to creep up this tunnel. And Satyr, is she watching it? I'm not sure if Kaya is going to notice that there is someone who has just made their way into their spawn, and Satyr, well, now she definitely knows, but it's an op versus Tour de Force battle, and if whoever peeks in the crosshairs, oh, it's Satyr to go down in that op v op battle.
Wow, this lurk from Bell has single-handedly brought the attackers back into favor here. Randos were previously down in a 3-5 situation, but thankfully between Bell's 2 kills and Lana's 1, they've been able to give themselves a lot of wiggle room here, and now Bell just being able to hold on to this tour de force and hold this angle is going to be able to collide with the 2 remaining defenders.
Oh, nicely timed null command as well. The flash goes out. Junifor is going to be able to take down 1. Now 2v2 situation. It's the Hunter's Fury. They gotta worry about the Lana. Oh gosh, she's gonna die to Zoe's Molly, and now it's all left up to Shaka. She's got the Hunter's Fury. She can play it very safe, but there are these 2 players left alive. Zoe's just going to hold it down, and Juna, she's going to try and finish it off. Can she do it? It's going to be close. Unfortunately, it's not going to be in the cards. Shaka gets the last kill as well. 1 more point on the ultimate. What a clutch from Shaka.
I mean, again, yeah, beautifully done from Shaka, but also beautifully done from Zoe. Had information that the tour de force was out from Bell, so being able to just go ahead and use that null command, using that grenade to force out that corner that would have been so difficult for them to check, to go on and defuse that bomb. Beautiful utility usage coming out from Zoe on this KO to try and clutch that one up. It just barely isn't as good as that Hunter's Fury from that very long angle that can be played so safely from the attacking side.
Oh my goodness. Now on the eco, this is so aggressive for the side of for the
Oh,
side of tactical
whoa.
throwers. They're already on the flank. They've taken out the trademark.
Woo!
What a shot from Zader. That was a drive-by and a half.
I mean, if you're trying to go for a right click, that was a good one to go for. And Satyr now getting vengeance there as well. Takes out K, two members of the attacking side, but they basically swapped sides with the defenders. Everyone coming out from that cave area, and Shaka about to be up close and personal with Satyr, does get the jump onto that, but Kaya able to shore up those final 2 kills, and they'll get this defuse no problem, and a point back for tactical throwers.
A thrifty round for them as well, and it's always these thrifties from the side of tactical throwers that are really bringing them back, because it's such confidence plays when you have really nothing to lose that are winning tactical throwers rounds. When they play a little more safe, they play back a little bit more, they kind of they give a little bit too much respect to the side of randos, and then allow a lot of space to be taken by the attacking team, and then they suddenly lose so much control over this map. But on the confidence plays, when they just kind of run it down together, because they have nothing to lose, they're not scared of what might happen in this round, because they fully expect that it's possible that they're going to let it go, then they gain a lot more value.
Speaking of value, being able to push up through this mid area, a new tactic that they've been able to utilize alongside Ibanez's very aggressive wall. So far, though, just a 1-for-1 trade here. Lana also getting yet another one between Zoe there. 3v3 once more. I feel like I'm going to be a broken record with that one, but every single one of these trades is just going so back and forth until this final collision. Every time Randos is able to get the bomb down with 3 players remaining, it all just comes down to one cumulative final fight, as Satyr, trying to watch those long angles, gets tacked up a little bit by Shaka. Unfortunately, that little bit of a decay from that wall, not able to finish off all of that damage. Zoe with this null command gonna be able to stop any utility that would have come out from Shaka, but Shaka falls nonetheless, even as with a long high angle. Getting a little bit revealed from that kill onto Satyr, trying to throw out those snake bites, but they're not gonna be enough. Yoja gets that defuse through and the kill onto Ibanez.
Really nice from Yoja in that last round, just a retake, and I think it's attributed to the fact that they also wait to put down the toxic screen so they can get a nice wall for these retakes here. And Ibanez, she has some really aggressive walls as well. Usually you see one thrown diagonally across the site, but for the side of randos, they really like to just throw it straight so they can have the entire site to themselves, have so much control with the help of the toxic screen. And now they're positioning themselves towards the B site with the help of both the Null Command and the Blade Storm immediately being popped here. Satyr, she's really got no choice except to sit in this corner, but she's able to take down the KO's body already.
I mean, Lana kind of just picked the wrong direction to be peeking at, slash the crossfire that was coming out from Satyr, as well as Junifor just working so in their favor. They're able to finish off Alana there before any resurrection can happen as well. And now Belle is just forced into a rough situation here. The shock dart's pushing back. The triple peek will be good for a triple kill going to Kaya's way, and a 5-6, looking at potentially an even half.
An even half would be incredibly ideal for tactical throwers, but they've already proven themselves that both of these teams are incredibly evenly matched. So the fact that Breeze is kind of a map that neither of them really wanted, but neither of them hate enough to ban, it's kind of, it's a tough call to see who's going to win it out. There's not really a lot of set strategies, but now we see Junifor taking out the operator, and an operator on a Sova is not something you see very often, but it's something that can be very powerful. She can just peek straight down mid here, and there, once again, a B side lean. No info from the 0 point means they know that they're going to be headed towards the site, and it's a quick rotation round.
Oh, K doing a nice little peek around there, finds a Satyr. Very nicely done as Belle picks one up as well. Junifor making a little bit of use, at least, out of that operator, but that operator is going to go into a little bit of a recession here shortly with that Viper's Pit, making it that much more difficult. Does pick up a Vandal, though, to at least be able to make some of these aggressive pushes. 3v4 situation for the defenders as they're trying to figure out how exactly they're going to go and push into this Viper's Pit. Some shock darts coming coming out,
Oh
but don't
no.
land any damage. And with that bow out, Kay will say, I've got you. Finish off Junifor there. Sees Kaya pushing out there, and now finally with that kill from Zoe going on to Ibanez, will find the kill, the 4K, and getting themselves an advantageous half.
That was incredibly chaotic round once again because pushing into the Viper's pit is just such unknown territory, and we haven't seen a Viper on either of these maps so far. I think a Viper can be strong on Bind, so it wasn't unsurprising though that they decided to go for the Brim as well as the Omen, since they're a lot safer picks for both of these maps. But now switching over these sides, it seems like the defensive is trying to go aggressive into elbow, which is exactly where tactical throwers are positioned. Randos really want to try and get an upper hand, go for this early confidence play, ego them really early into the half, just to make sure they know their place.
I mean, we did see Randos go for losing a pistol round and then aggressively buying up despite the loss in the first round previously. So we might be seeing them do that yet again. But a nice peek out from Kaya. Finds a kill on TK, but even as to trade out very nicely. Jousting around this Viper wall, the toxic screen, making it that much more difficult for each of these teams to get any sort of damage across. And we will see Junifor go for a very safe movement. Bell peeking out to find Satyr. Unfortunately, Junifor will be able to find that kill onto Lana. That little bit of a rotation doing absolute wonders as Bell finds yet another kill, picking up 3 there, switching back to that headhunter. All left up to Junifor, who's holding this long angle, brought back by that smoke from Viper. Bell finds a 4K and advances even further, and the bomb gonna be given over to Bell as well. I mean, 2 pips off of that tour de force, that would be insane to pull out this early.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, she could even have that 3 rounds in, and since they get the buy up into the second round, it means that she can replace her Guardian with an even more powerful gun if she secures 2 kills, 1 kill in defuse, 1 kill in an alt orb. It could be any combination, but it just means that she is so incredibly close to being an oppressive chamber on this defensive side.
And I mean, we've seen Bell pick up this chamber every single map, so you have to imagine that this is just a very comfortable pick for Bell as well. And I mean, it's certainly showing off in dividends in this game. 17 and 8, top of the board for the side of Randos. So that comfort pick paying off yet again with an early kill onto Satyr here. That was through smoke too, wow.
Yeah,
Sorry.
unfortunately, Satyr going down, it just means that they don't really have that initiative power, but they're still going to be able to sneak past. Oh my god, you just ate that recon bolt, and Kaya is actually going to die to it. Oh my god, this is falling apart, Becky.
Oh my gosh, I mean, but they're trying to keep it held down. Junifor and Yoja both pick up 1 kill before each of them fall. And Bell will get this defuse once again. And I mean, okay, not gonna get the defuse as the 2 kills from that round does mean that that tour de force is online. Gonna go ahead and give that defuse over to Ibanez, and we'll be that much closer to a Viper's pit as well. And I mean, this is kind of a breakneck start for the side of Randos.
Side of Randos on the defense, as soon as they switched over, they found huge strides already. Kay has already picked up an operator as well since she didn't buy up into the second round. But on the other side, tactical throwers did buy up, so they have to stick to these sheriffs instead. And now they have potentially 2 operators on the board on either of these sites. We actually have Kay looking down tunnel with her operator, and Bell playing on the A side. So it's a heavy A side defender presence.
A long angle A side defender presence too as well, since we are seeing a lot of long-range weaponry, especially in this Guardian that's still been held on by Bell. I mean, Bell, I think that's a great angle to be holding and has Satyr's number, it seems like. It doesn't matter through the toxic screen, it doesn't matter, just able to get those default shots and get rewarded for them. And as a result, now the attacking side are down their duelist initiator and will have to at least lean back onto this KO just a little bit more. Junifor and Zoe Zoe just trying to push through into different
Oh,
areas, but once again, Bell just right place,
Belle.
right time, watching this spike. He's rewarded by picking up a third kill here, is about to converge with Zoe for the fourth one. Shaka, though, not gonna allow the team to get an ace, but will allow for Randos to reach double digits.
Well, that was definitely a round from Bell. I think they're definitely, yeah, it's a good time for them to stop and rethink their strategies here. They're kind of just running down onto either of these sites. They put down the toxic screen, so then the enemy team has an idea of where they're supposed to be going. They have Satyr as the point of the spear. They're trying to have her just wedge herself into the site, going in with the cloud burst as well as the tailwind, but then they lose her early, and they've lost her early for 2 rounds in a row, and then they just don't know what to do. They're kind of left flailing after she's gone.
Yeah, and we were kind of seeing that exact same thing on previous maps as well, but it was kind of happening for both of these teams, but it felt a little more impactful when it was happening to tactical throwers because every time Satyr would fall, like Satyr has been one of those top playing members for the side of tactical throwers every single time. So when you lose somebody who is one of your top players, it just becomes that much more impactful. And so they will kind of need to figure out how they're going to play it if they want somebody else to end up being the spearhead so that they don't end up losing Satyr that early. Maybe potentially have Kaya or Yoja. Well, you probably don't want Yoja because the toxic screen is just so important for post-plant situations. But yeah, potentially something like Kaya or maybe even Zoe to be the first one to entry onto sites and then have it be followed up by Satyr to kind of bridge this little bit of an unfortunate gap that's happening every time they lose Satyr early.
Well, they definitely don't want to go onto the A site once again. Ivana's, though, she's got a poison orb as well as a snake bite. As long as she's not pinged by the owl drone, she's pretty much safe. However, she's lost her util now, but they still don't want to go in. They already got the K here with the operator, and Ivana's is going to take down Satyr as well. This is so unfortunate already for the side of tactical throwers.
Oh, and it looks like Ibanez is also gonna get kind of aggressive here into this little smoke area. Peek around, find two, because Kaya was looking in the right direction, but Juna was not. And with that, the extra peek from Shaka to finish it off. And oh my gosh, it just seems like Randos are running away with this game.
They're up to 11 now as well. Bell, once again, tour de force, still active. On the other side, it's Viper's Pit as well as Hunter's Fury. They need that early info. They're just kind of choosing sites and then deciding, yeah, this is where we're going to go. Even though they were confronted with both the Poison Orb as well as Snakebite, Satyr still Cloudburst Tailwind in, even though her team wasn't behind her. And it was just such an unfortunate situation because they're not defaulting enough. They're not finding enough information or map control. They just kind of decide, and it's just not good enough.
Yeah, it's really hard. You can get onto a site and create a lot of space with a jet, but I mean, you also get to create a lot of space by, Ibanez getting really aggressive on this Viper, picking up 2 early kills, and all of a sudden, I mean, the defense just continuing to switch it up every single time, playing slightly differently. Thankfully, Satyr is able to punish Ibanez for that pick. That aggressive pass, but is still just in a rough situation. Junifor, I mean, Bell is just absolutely insane with this Guardian, has not even wanted to change guns on any of these rounds and is continuing to find so many kills with it.
Zoe, at least she's able to find her way onto the site now. Kay has passed by her. Not sure she knows that she's already pillar and thinking she's hiding in... Oh, but she's able to spot out Kay, but unfortunately that just wasn't the round for tactical throwers, and now I believe they actually have to be on a save for this last match point. Or it isn't a save, but it's definitely a little bit more of a half buy than a full buy.
Yeah, an unfortunate place to end up being when you're staring down match point, but we've seen them be able to bring some rounds back nonetheless, though we haven't seen them take one since. Randos have moved to this defensive side, which certainly says a lot about the strategies of this team as defenders, and looks like they're going to make the right 50-50 call. Ibanez going to go ahead and pop that Viper's Pit and at least hold down that B site for a moment, but a very quick start once again as Seder falls first. Yoja able to do a little bit of a trade back. That Viper's Pit of her own is going to be able to go out, but a 4v4 situation. A lot of the defensive side with operators kind of forced to be a little bit far back, but we do see Kay going to get up close and personal with this shorty, trying to just hunt people down. Nice turn from Yoja, able to find that kill. The shock dart will be able to get some damage, but they're doing a great job of holding this down. Ibanez with some, at least a little bit of Odin go burr action, but it just won't be enough. Yoja with the 4K gets the round for the side of Tactical Throwers, who are still in this game.
We talked a lot about Yoja on Bind because she was just such a good gunner for the side of Tactical Throwers, and now it seems like she's finding her stride on Breeze. And I really think that Yoja is the backbone of this team. You need her. Like, you have people like Seder and Junifor, who are currently the top of the board right now, who really have these individual pop-up performances. But Yoja, you need her. I think she might actually be the ace of this team, even though she is the controller here.
I mean, and we've been able to see Yoja do great things on basically every single map so far, and has such a versatility as far as agent pick is concerned too. So it's been really impressive to see the level of mastery and utility usage across so many different agents. Unfortunately, an insane 3K from Lana does fall to Kaya, but that just doesn't really feel like it matters when 3 people fell to 1 agent. Beautiful peek there from Lana that's so rewarded.
And now they've already put down the toxic screen on the A site, but the rotations are being made by the defenders, and they're kind of trying to decide here, do we have to just commit to this? Because now the spike is postured here, the cross is precarious for Kaya, and it's dangerous for both sides, but more so for the side of Tactical Throwers. Can they get out of this A main position? Now Kay is also holding with an operator as well, so Kaya can't really retreat.
I mean, they were anticipating Bell in that corner, but they weren't anticipating Kay on that corner with the operator. Beautiful bring out of the Bladestorm. Kay finishes it off, proves me wrong, does an absolute beautiful job on the Jet in that game, and brings it home for Randos.
All right. Well, Listen, I'm not going to say that I was expecting Randos to win, especially after that second game, right? That was beautiful. They had such a good run here for Tactical Throwers. And honestly, taking that map off of Randos, who hadn't dropped a map before, is pretty much, you know, a good thing in itself. But Becky, I mean, looking at that matchup, looking at Tactical Throwers, they looked a lot better.
Oh, they did look a lot better, especially compared to how they looked on Bind. It just felt like they weren't comfortable with the agents that they picked on Bind, especially when we got to see them get really creative with their agent picks. As far as Haven was concerned, and be able to convert Haven into a win with some of those creative picks. It was really beautiful to see, but then it felt like on Bind, they just weren't really able to find their footing with those agents. And then in this one, there were some times where it felt like they were really close to being able to make it all come together when they were on the defensive side. But then the moment that we got to see the side of Randos move on to the defensive side, they just had such a chokehold on this game and would not let there be any wiggle room to be had.
Yeah, and I mean, Epitomes, I'm not sure if you agree with what Becky said. Most likely you do, but the matchup, I want to hear your opinion on exactly what you enjoyed. Just there for you? What was there?
Tactical Throwers, I think they definitely seemed like they were very practiced on Haven. They had these really nice retakes where they were really communicating well, waiting for each other, clearing out the every single angle very methodically, and covering each other's weaknesses. You transfer on to Bind, and they have the ideas. The ideas are definitely there, but the practice just isn't. And it seems like they know what they're supposed to be doing, but in practice, it's just not quite solidified just yet. And then when they go over to Breeze, there's not really, it's just a huge question mark. It's a huge unknown. And randoms or randos, they're more of a pug team. They're more used to just like not having these solidified strategies on either of these maps. On either of these maps, except Bind, you definitely saw that they had something in the playbook. But now they head onto Bind or onto Breeze, which is a good pug map, and neither of the sides have something really going on, randos just pull ahead.
Yeah, but we do, of course, have to continue to go to the next game. And I know everybody wants to watch it. We're going to see Team Mystic Venus versus Dart Monkeys. So definitely going to be a great game to watch. We're going to finally be able to see Dart Monkeys in action. But Epitomes, Becky, I'll see you guys soon. We're going to head over to that second game very shortly.